This is the Run Recap.
I'm really curious to hear how your run on the island went
Well,
post
that was miserable.
post your midlife, not midlife, your what do we call it? Your crisis of identity when it comes to running.
It lasted for quite a while, actually.
Did
So
it?
no, that's so. So we're out on the island. Of course, out on the island, you just it's like 2.5 mile, maybe it's 3 miles. I don't know how far it is.
It's
More
like 2.7, I think, something like that.
GPS has said so many different things out there that I don't think we know anymore.
At one
But
point, I ran 3.2, I think.
yeah, right. I've definitely done a 5K there before, and I've also done 2.5. And it's the same
Yeah,
route. Anyway, regardless. But tons of ups and downs, and it's beautiful, and you're on an island, and that's just fun to go around the whole island. You get to see what's all happening out there,
right.
and get to know who's on the island. You get to know
Yep.
where all people are. Anyway, and I love it. You've been doing that for what, 10, 15 years or something? 15
Yeah,
years?
long
Probably.
time.
I think it's been over 15 years. Anyway, and so that's just always a thing. Like, if I hear someone's going, I want to go. So Christy said she was going to go on a run, and I was like, and so I just asked her, like, hey, can I join you? Not thinking through that, like, I'm retired. I don't do this thing anymore. Just as a kind of a knee-jerk reaction there.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
so I did that, and she was like, I don't know. She's like, I think I might just need to run for me. I don't feel like being pushed. I was like, hey, just so you know, I can't push you right now. Like, it's going to be the other way around. I literally don't have the ability. I still am not quite walking right. Like, I'm rough. I don't know that I can actually run this far right now. So there,
Yeah.
she's like, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. It was right about then I thought, man, do I really want to do this? I'm not sure I want to do this. And it was really, really hard. So it took off and immediately was like, we're running extremely slow, and it hurt, not horribly, but more like just trying to get myself moving again was really difficult. So not as much that it was like trying to get over sore muscles, but to try and, I don't know how to describe that right. My legs didn't hurt from being sore. They just, nothing in me wanted to move them, like, at all. Like, no desire for that. And the downhills honestly felt scary. Like, because I ran so much downhill. I mean, you gotta think, I did 5,200 downhill vertical feet, at a fast pace. Probably more than that, but that's the best I can calculate it. Like, tons of down. So that shock when you hit of your quad stabilizing on your way down, and usually, you can flow through it, but with that much, that worked me so hard that it was really difficult. And so out there, all my downhill steps felt really insecure. Like, okay, I'm going to try this. I don't know that. I hope they hold again. But it kept every little downhill was just scary. And it was really, really tough. And so I did that. We walked a lot, like a bunch. And Christy kept pulling away and looking back. And I'm just back there like, I'm trying to survive. It's good for me to go do this because I needed to move. I really needed to move. But,
absolutely. Yeah.
It was miserable physically and emotionally, like really, really, really tough.
She sent me a message saying that you said you needed to come with her to keep her safe.
Yeah, right.
That's what she said.
Yeah, so you can't don't go do this on your own.
Yeah. Man,
but,
I know what you're saying though about the it's almost like willpower, right? The energy or the desire, where like it's just not there. I feel like you had the extreme version of what I've had most of the summer. Of like, I want to run because it's nice out, and I want the feeling, and I want to feel. I like the habit. I like to get outside and move, and I like to sweat and whatever. And then I get out there and I start running, and I'm like, I don't care about any of this. I don't care that it's slow or fast. I actually was trying to go slow. I wasn't trying to go fast. And it's just pulling teeth to keep moving one foot in front of the other,
Yeah. Well, and I think it's the same thing. Like, I ran out of endorphins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no pleasure response associated with anything, you know, and you're just going. I guess I'll go because I'm supposed to go, you know, and like it's good for me to do. And
so all summer, my motivation has been there, kind of, but during the run, it's not, right? And it also just, my runs have just felt so, for me, so slow, you know, like not fine, you know, like not terrible, but like the acceptance of like, oh, this is just my new speed.
Yeah.
You know, like my go-to, my natural cadence is just now 7 something, you know,
sure,
7:30, 7:15 something. I'm like, man, 6:30 used to be like the go-to.
Yeah.
Like just the like, I'm just gonna go out and run and not think about it and not work too hard. And it was 6:30, right? That's what it used to be like 5 years ago. And now it's all summer it's been accepting the fact that it's slower, right?
Yeah.
And not feeling like I can really push, like my lungs are just dying. And then last week, so I texted you my run, all of a sudden it felt good.
Yeah.
And like I opened up my stride. And like even my first I did 2 miles. So I didn't have a lot of time, I didn't have a lot of motivation. Actually going into my run, my motivation was really low.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just do a mile out, rest, and a mile back. Just I don't want to take a ton of time. And so the first mile, I'm like, oh, this feels good. It's not fast, right? But like my stride feels good, and like it feels really easy. I didn't look at my time going out because I don't like to do that while I'm running. And then I'm like, I'm resting, done real quick. I'm like, okay, let's go back. Let's try to push it. I wasn't going to try to push it, but I'm like, it felt so good. Let's try to open up my stride more, not go fast, just like open it up, right? Yeah. Like lean forward a little bit and have a bigger kick back and push off the ground. And when I got back, I'm like, oh, that was a 6:16.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the fastest I've run all summer, really. Yeah. Like, that was quick. And it felt, you know, at the end, I pushed real hard the last, like, you know, quarter mile or so, but it felt not crazy hard. It felt really good. And it was like such a satisfying feeling of like, oh, maybe I'm not lost forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But, and I don't know what necessarily to chalk that up to, right? There's a few physical factors that I think are probably in play, but man, some of it was just something in my mindset or motivation just clicked. Whereas like, oh, just run how you used to run.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with the stride you're used to having, you know.
Isn't that so funny that we run into that? We've talked about this several times in ways, but that we run into that when you do feel that lull and you're like, you got that hump you just can't get over. And maybe it's an older age thing where we do know in the end that you probably can't outperform what you did before.
Right. Yeah.
So that's probably just true. Mm-hmm. But but with that, you then immediately go to, oh, I'm just a minute slower now forever, probably. Which is so silly because that's just not true at all. Like, and I've seen that in my own life over and over and over again. I often feel that of like, oh, I guess this is how slow you are for all the things combined for what your life currently is. You've been running 1 day a week for a while. You've been doing these other, you've been doing these other things like that. You haven't been sleeping, like there are all these other factors there. They're all lined up or it's 100 degrees outside. Yes, you're going to be slower during these 3 weeks where it's 100 degrees outside and you keep running at 2 p.m. when it's at its hottest. Yeah, your body can't perform at its peak level like this. Or it's 30 below and there's snow on the ground. Yeah.
I don't accept any of that.
No,
that's
I don't
not
either,
good reasons.
Not accepting that. And it even goes into, we were joking about, one of my bad traits is I do not differentiate between trail running and road running as being anything different at all than being on a track. All those times are the same. And
it's like when I went out with you to the switchbacks like a month or two ago, and we're running, and my watch told me like our first mile or maybe second mile was like 9 something, and I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, we're flying.
And
like
we're running fast.
We're going quick, and you're like, no, it's probably accurate for this trail run with these hills and these switchbacks. It's probably at the pace we should be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way it's got to be up because exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm running fast when I can, so I should be like at least in the sevens somewhere.
Right.
And
Totally. Yes.
so
Yeah, and that's it. That is just the way that works. And I think it goes back to, there were times, well, it was probably actually a bad trait back then too. Even in high school, when I was around that speed, in cross country, it would not be terribly abnormal to pull off that first mile sub 5 minutes, where I was at. And I might still average right around 5:30 to 6 overall, at my best, maybe like 5:15 or something. But actually, I don't think I ever got quite that fast. But anyway, but you'd be in there on an easier course. But thumbs up. Anyway, I think you sent a message earlier I'm responding to. You can cut this out.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyway, yes, I can see you. I just got a text asking if I can see you. Yes, I can see you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. There you go. Anyway, I was trying to figure out how to do that not discreetly, and it just got weirder, so I just have to just say it. Yeah. Okay. Mike, I can see you.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm
glad. Sitting here
that.
Thumbs up while we're talking probably is not discreet. Just
yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we should give ourselves the grace and the freedom to accept the variation in terrain and how it's going to impact our speeds. But I don't like to.
Hills on a trail run. First of all, you got to deal with your footing and getting over rocks and being a little bit more bouncy than you usually have to be. And you got to pick your feet up a lot further, right? You got that. And then hills are often at a 20% grade or steeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on a road, it's really unusual you find a road that's more than a 14% grade. That is an extremely steep paved road, right? Like that's, so that right there, no, it's not the same. And then compare that, of course, to a track where it's completely flat, right?
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it is, as I was explaining to our team out there that I have this horrible trait where, I'm going to go run 3 miles, which means, okay, well, I used to be able to do 18. Now, I could if I really push, I could do this in 19 minutes. But hey, we have more things coming up. I should probably run it in about 21 minutes, right? It's muddy, and there's 600 vertical in these 3 miles. I shouldn't run it in 21. That's not. I'm not in the shape to do that. I'm not currently in that shape at all. For sure not.
Yeah. But when you're running up the hill, you don't slow down. You maintain your pace.
You should, right? Why? Let's not be weak like that. No, you should be tougher than that and maintain your pace up the hill. And then after that, you got the downhill where you can go way faster than your normal pace.
Exactly.
So you're actually faster.
If you need to rest, you rest at the top of the hill for 5 steps.
Yeah.
Where you take a breath or two, and then you go faster than the hill was.
Right.
Yeah. You maintain pace up, take a breath, and then continue the same speed if fast. Man, it is terrible how ingrained that is into my head. I don't do a ton of hills over here, but every time I do, I'm going up the hill. I'm like, oh, good, lengthen my stride.
Right.
Go faster, so that I compensate for any variability that I might slow down for.
And the reality is, you can perform really, really well. I did this when I was not in good enough shape to run a 12K under 1 hour. I just was not. But I really wanted to, so I was gonna. And so it was one of the Sound and Arrows. This is when I had first, in this most recent iteration of my running, when I had gotten back into shape. I went, Ben Ramsey talked me into going run the Sound and Arrows with him. So it's a 12K course, tons of up and down. If you know the area over in the Tacoma area, it goes through Point Defiance. And so it's just constant up, down, up, down, up, down. And beautiful course, is super fun 12K. So it's great. And of course, 12Ks are always, in my brain, in order to count as a runner, I have to be under an hour, right? If I'm over an hour, I walked probably. You didn't. That's not real. But that's what's ingrained in my brain, right? So, anyway, so if I'm gonna do it, I have to be under an hour. And so the uphill, I was not in good enough shape to run them. And just teeny steps up the hills, just survive the uphills, and then all out sprint down the hills to make up for it. And it worked. Like,
and it worked.
Yeah, like I'm running sub 5-minute pace. I mean, it's as fast as I can sprint down the hills. So I rested on the ups, sprinted the downs, and I made it under an hour.
Oh my God. Yeah, because usually when you I've done that a lot of times. Like, well, I'll make up for it some other time, and it doesn't actually work out. Right.
Yeah.
You're still under the time that you think, like, okay, well, I can go slow here because I can make it up here, but you're not accounting for like the difference that has to happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you slow down a little bit, but that means that your speed has to be so much faster than you would typically be.
Right.
To make up for how slow you were. Oh yeah, it doesn't usually work. That's amazing that it actually works.
Oh, full on work. I rested on every uphill. Yeah, and we were going so fast down the hills. We were probably really obnoxious to run next to. Like, it was probably really annoying because everyone passed me on the uphills and I passed everyone on the downhills, and it was constant back and forth.
What is wrong with this amateur that's never run before, right?
Exactly.
Like, God, this guy, dude, go run like a 5K or something. Like, figure your life out first.
That's exactly right.
Oh my God. So you sent me a run, though. I was sending you my miles because I did the mile. It felt so good.
Yeah.
And this is also the downside is I felt good. The next day I was a little bit sore from it. I should have been because I was pushing a little bit differently than I have been. But I chased the good feeling. So I'm like, I'm going to do it again. Same thing. I don't have to go faster, but I want the feeling of feeling good in my stride and feeling, that like kind of effortless feeling when you're getting your speed.
When you get that good run, that's a fun run. You just want it again, like immediately.
Exactly. So now,
I personally, your times looked like you piggybacked them just fine.
Oh, they were 10 seconds faster the next day than the day before.
And I've had that happen tons of times too, where I have a good run and I do back-to-back hard runs, and often my second hard run is better than my first, and just piggyback them like that.
Totally, and it was great. The problem was I was supposed to time my hundreds the next day, and I was kind of sore going into doing that. And that wasn't the best setup. But yeah, like I that's the other, I think, folly I have is you chase the good run. If I do a good run and it felt good, no matter what the run was, stairs, 7 miles, 5 miles, whatever it was, that felt good, do it again.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Same effort, if anything, faster.
Yeah.
Because if I go faster, it'll feel better.
Yeah.
Than it did. It felt good. It'll be even better if I go faster, if I push myself even harder. But, and it worked. I was 10 seconds faster on both of them, but was so sore going into Saturday.
Yeah.
Which was a little bit of a bummer.
And I heard you said your timing system didn't work right either.
Yeah, that's a nice way to say it. I don't think Brian listens to this, so it's fine. That's a nice way of saying that Brian, it didn't kind of failed me on the timing.
That's the name of your timing system?
Yeah, right. It's an acronym or something. No, so Brian joined me. He was going to time me. And for some reason, I was thinking I wanted it on my watch. I wanted the time there because I didn't want to risk it being erased, or I wanted it to save or whatever. So I started my run on my watch, and I'm like, I'll just do splits.
Yeah.
For the time. Brian doesn't see super well without his glasses.
Oh, no.
So he was just joining my workout, right? Yeah. So we're doing starts, warming up. I'm taking a very long time to warm up, so I want to make sure I'm good. And I showed him how to do the things, and it just didn't do it.
Yeah.
It just didn't work the split. So I did two attempts. The first one felt pretty good. The second one I was bummed I didn't get it because it felt really fast. Like, if I had to guess, I felt like I was in the 11s somewhere.
Okay, cool.
11 something, but I have no way of telling. So there's a small chance I want to do it when I come over this weekend.
We could make it work.
Dad will come out in timing.
Well, if we have two people,
not with your schedule.
Not on my schedule.
Not with your schedule. I can't do the mile and 100 times on the same day.
Yeah, true. Man, if there were two of us there, though, if you had someone calling the start, they could drop a flag so the timer knows to hit it. But if you had,
oh yeah, or
you
like
just
the
need
way
two
Brian and I
people.
were doing it, the way Brian and I were doing it, like he just sits at about 50 meters, is loud enough, set, yells go when he starts it,
Yeah.
and then he just jogs toward the end and catches it. Like it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, but you do have the sound, like the time that sound takes to travel, so you're probably missing, what, a 0.05 of a second or something.
Yeah, that's fine for this. For this, I'm not worried. I'll be close enough. But then I don't think my body is going to be happy with that. Every time I do sprints, my hip has been tightening up, and it's taken like a few days to get that relaxed. And so yesterday, actually, this is a good lesson on warm-ups for whoever is listening. Or yesterday I did a stair. I didn't have much time. I wanted to work out. I wanted to sweat a lot, so I did a workout I've been kind of stoked on lately, where you set up a fat burner setting on a stair climber. Let's say I think I did like 20 minutes yesterday, and so it's going to take you through a series of effort. I just go faster and slower. It takes you through a thing. Every 5 minutes, I pause it. So pause for 2 minutes without erasing the plan. Pause it and I hop off and I do exercises. And then I hop back on, do another 5 minutes, hop off, do exercises, right?
Okay.
So I was just doing like push-ups and pull-ups and some leg lifts or something, just upper body stuff. So I did 20 minutes of that, which actually adds up to being like 25 minutes.
Sure.
So like sweating, drenched, and I did on a fast pace too. So it was very quick. So I'm warm, right? I did pull-ups, did push-ups, my legs are warm, my calves are warm, good. And my client that I had got delayed, so I had extra time. Like, oh, let's go to the garage and let's do some just explosive starts. I'm not wearing spikes, not on blocks or anything, so it's not like I'm going 100% effort. But I just, I want to work on my first 5 steps. Just get quick. And I go out and I go down for my first one. First start, I just explode my left hip, and it's just like. And I'm like, oh, and like not like terrible, like something like it's an injury type of thing, but like just the muscles all around it just tightened up. And I'm like, shoot, it wasn't so bad that I needed to stop, and it didn't get worse. So I just kept on going, and it was fine. Last night I was ruined.
Was it?
I mean, like I can barely bend over, and like I'm stretching it constantly. Luckily, depending on how you look at it, luckily Lockwood was awake and out of bed off and on from like 12:15 to like 2:30. And so I got to stretch a lot in the middle of the night, which was probably helpful, and then I had one of my guys here actually stretch me this afternoon, so it feels better. But it goes to show you that my hips, my hip flexors, my glutes, my psoas, none of that was actually warm. My nervous system wasn't ready for explosive movement. But I was warm. I was sweating. My blood was flowing through my legs. So that's good enough.
Yeah.
Right? But like, man, it's dumb how much you can know and still forget stupid things like that. Like, yes, I was warm technically, but my nervous system was not warm. It wasn't ready for explosive movement like that. I needed to actually warm up like that part of the system instead of just thinking I can go to a sprint right away.
Yeah.
Right.
And it sure seems like with the stair climber that it would have been the right thing there,
and it just wasn't. I didn't have my fast twitch muscles ready.
Yeah.
I had just endurance muscles going, right? As most runners, and this is the downside of doing sprints I was kind of alluding to last week, of like how sprints are so easy and everyone should just do them.
Yeah.
Right? But this is the downside. Like you're older, they require very intentional warm-ups so that you don't get a stupid injury like that or a popped Achilles or something like that. It's like they do take a lot more intention and effort and kind of knowledge than just go run.
Yeah. I think you're discovering why adults don't sprint.
I know, but they should because it's so much easier in a lot of ways.
But it's really complicated. First of all, to know how fast you're going, you need other people to help you. Your improvement is based on parts of a second. So again, you can't even time yourself to know, did I do better? Did I do worse? What am I doing? You don't have any, because it's so minuscule, the difference between the two. And and then the workouts, you got to be pretty intentional about everything you're doing there. Yeah.
But it's so I was working out with Brian because he was joining my workout. We've done a lot of trap workouts, but never like focused like sprints like this. And and it was he had a lot of fun, but I kept on reminding him the whole time, like, go slow. This is not 100% effort. This is like 70%. Like, go through the motions of what I'm coaching you through. Don't try to go as fast as possible because he doesn't do this. It's not familiar, right? I don't want to put you for popping a hamstring or something like that.
Yeah.
All I'll say, it's just unfortunate because it's so much easier than going for a 7-mile run.
In some ways, right?
in some ways, it's so much easier.
On the other hand, 7-mile run, all you gotta do, you just gotta put your shoes on and start going. And if you mess up your watch and you started it 10 seconds later, it didn't make a bit of difference.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with sprints, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, those 10 seconds might make a lot of difference.
Oh man. You sent me a run though. I was sending you my miles, and then you sent me a run. You said it was rough. You had a lot of like up and downs on what looked like your pace. What was that run?
Let's see, what did I do after that? No, I think that was the one on the island I sent you, I think.
Oh, that was the island run.
That was the island one. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I caught that. Okay.
Where that's me like walking, running. Yeah. So my pace was like going between 25-minute miles, and I think I got down to maybe 10-minute miles. And then went back to 25-minute miles, like just all over the place. And it was really hard and emotionally hard. But yeah, we covered all that. But it was just, and one of the hardest runs I've done in a year, easily.
Yeah.
Like that was really difficult.
Well, especially when having muscles that sore and trying to run is one of the harder things.
I like to not push to the point that it takes me 2 days to be able to walk again. Like that was too much. And I want to back off of that. There's no point in pushing that hard.
Yeah.
Really at all. And really, if I'm going to push that hard, it means I wasn't trained properly enough to do it.
Right.
And it comes down to this. I could have run that race way better. Real honestly, I was sick for the week before that. I had run. Yeah. So the week before going into this, I'd only run 3 miles. The week before that, I think I also only ran 3 miles. And the week before that, maybe I ran 10. And then the week before that, I had a whole bunch of miles. So I did like a 3-week taper going into this thing accidentally, along with having like pretty rough sickness where I was like in bed for 2 days straight. Like that's what I had leading up to it. I was not in very good shape going into this. And not in good, and I was in decent running shape where I could still pull off some speed because I had put in a whole bunch of work and I was kind of coasting after that. So you could still just I could get away with some stuff, but I wasn't currently in great shape there. And then Christy and I were joking about last night because I finally got to the gym last night and we were joking and I was telling her like how little, I was doing curls with 15 pounds and it was hard, and I was doing, military presses with 40s and that was extremely difficult. And I was like, I'm really weak. And then we start talking about when was the last time that we intentionally lifted? And we're like, oh, we've intentionally lifted 4 times probably in the last 7 months. Like,
I don't do it.
Not enough to do any muscle building at all. We just kind of like played with some weights a couple times. That's all that actually happened.
Yeah.
And so of course I'm really weak right now, and I'm really small because all I've been doing is running, and I have had some good stretches of real hard running. But leading up to that thing, I just was not in shape at all to do that kind of miles, that kind of vertical, and probably had a very different experience had I at least been like half marathon trained. But I wasn't. I was 5K trained, and I could go into that. I could have pulled off a pretty fast 5K if it was flat. Like really, my leg speed was there. I had a couple 5Ks that I had been, in that 20-ish minute range, So I got some speed, but I got speed for 20 minutes. That's it.
Right.
I'm not ready for 22 miles and 4,000 vertical.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Oh man,
it wasn't even close.
You posted a thing yesterday or today or something about how much treadmills suck. What were you trying to do on the treadmill?
Nothing. That popped up. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Treadmills suck.
I didn't catch that.
That's it. It was one of those runner meme pages. They're like, study finds that the running on treadmills is just horrible. And I was like, yeah, it is. You need to do a study on that. You could just ask me.
Ask any normal runner, and they'll pretty much agree with you. What's funny is did I tell you about my getting back into my treadmill runs?
No.
A little bit. Okay, I couldn't remember if we talked about it last week. So, 2 weeks ago, I think I really want. I was thinking about my 1 miles and this is before I did a good one. I was just thinking about speed and how fast I was, 5-6 years ago, and how good that felt. And I'm like, well, what was I doing back then? And I'm like, I was doing a lot of treadmill running. I'm like,
yeah,
maybe I'll pull that treadmill workout that I like. I'll pull it out, right? And I'll start working on that again. And so that was, I mentioned before, but for a refresher, it's ideally 5 miles. You run to 0.9 of a mile and you rest while the treadmill is running. And once you get to the next mile, you start and you speed it up. So you just increase your speed. You start at like a warm-up pace. Like whatever your warm-up pace is, you start there, and increasing with the idea that your last mile is like near all out.
Uh-huh.
Everything you got, right? And your rest is getting shorter and shorter because the treadmill is going faster and faster, and you're just resting for the 0.1 that it takes, right, to in between. So it's a fun workout because you get to break up the 5 miles, right?
Okay.
And you're intentionally going faster. So I'm like, well, let's pull that out. Not trying to go top speed, not trying to match the times I was before, but like just as a workout. So I started and I made it 3 miles, and it was the hardest thing I had done in forever. It was, and I went, because they're treadmills, so it's miles per hour. I went 6.5 to 7.5 to 8.5, which is not arguably very fast for only 3 miles.
Sure.
And it was just brutal, terrible. The next time I did it, I'm like, I increased too much too soon for not having done this workout at all. And like my expectations weren't even that I should match what I did before, but still it was just too hard.
Mm-hmm.
My body was not used to it at all, trying to match something that I used to be doing a lot of.
Yeah.
Like that wake up call, like, yeah, you used to do this. You need to like build up to this. You can't just like pop in and just do this whenever you want.
Yeah.
But then I had like a week or two later of doing it a couple more times. I finally built up to like, I didn't increase too slow. I did all the 5 miles. My last mile was like 6 something, low 6s somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I got there. Finally.
Nice.
Finally got there. And it was actually fun. The first 3 times, it was just not fun. Like, this is terrible. This is stupid.
Yeah.
But I want to be in shape to do this. And so it was just like the fight and push through of like, force yourself to do it so that you can get the benefit of it later.
Right.
Right. And luckily it was like, it felt attainable. It felt like, I know if I just continue on this path for a not very long, a short period, it will feel good eventually. But the struggle is so dumb, especially when you don't like the struggle.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and like every struggle, right? They're all stupid, and they all are horrible until you get used to it. Then all of a sudden it can be enjoyable. Like we can make everything enjoyable,
Right.
And it's so
Absolutely.
That's probably the thing that running gives us more than anything is how much we can do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so real quick though, to kind of bring the whole story of this misery and my retirement and horrible runs all the way around.
Excited for it.
I was finally feeling pretty good and went and did my normal 6 mile run.
And you signed up for a marathon.
And I signed up for a half marathon that's happening.
That would be the typical David story.
So I went and did my 6 mile run. It felt great. I ran, basically 7:30s if you don't count the hill. And then I had the hill that ran like in 10-minute pace, just totally normal. But a pretty quick one, and my strides felt smooth. I was still feeling sore, but it's feeling good. And I finally recovered from this thing emotionally and physically to where like, okay, this is good. I needed some time. And then, and then all of a sudden, there's a race. I'm doing it. It's at Grand Coulee. So it's called Race the Dam. And it's running from, it's a half marathon. So 13.1.
was totally joking.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you didn't piggyback on my joke.
Yeah, no, it's a half.
And
Yeah.
I thought you like scoffed it off, like, oh yeah, that's funny. Anyway, my run, and I'm like, oh, he doesn't want to double down on this funny joke I had.
Yeah,
because it wasn't a joke.
And it runs from Banks Lake, which is a place there where Christy and I love to climb and stuff. Is where I proposed to her. So it's in the middle of Washington, where it's still that desert, and then the river's running right through there and everything. And so, but it runs from Banks Lake to Grand Coulee Dam, and I think you cross the dam to finish even. So I saw this thing like months ago. I'm like, that'd be really fun, but I'm not going to do it because the other reason wasn't going to do it is it's the day before the Boulevard. So the half marathon's on Saturday, the Boulevard 4-mile race is on Sunday. And but yeah, I got done. Yeah, after I was finally feeling recovered, I'm like, no, this will be fun. I'm doing this thing. So I signed up for that, had a good run, and I'm gonna stay real consistent for the next 3 weeks and see what kind of shape I can get in.
So why? What was? Did you just need time away? Was it just like the rest and the recovery of it, or was there? I mean, because I didn't talk to you directly after the race, after the Ragnar, but like it was close enough where I could still feel the. I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not joking about running is dumb. I don't want to run far enough.
None of my goals, or not even goals are the wrong word, but just the things I still wanted to achieve with running that were like, it's not for any good reason. I just want to. Like, I want to do this thing. I want to do that thing or whatever. I have these things that like, I really like to see if my body can do these things. I want to try this out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to still do this sometime in my life, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
By the time I was done with the Ragnar thing, is like, none of that matters. And the only reason you really should run is just to make sure you're healthy. I need to stay healthy. Mm-hmm. I'll do that. But what the heck am I doing trying to push for these different things? Like, why? Yeah. There's no point. Like, I felt that very strongly. And I had completely let go of anything that I was actually trying to accomplish. And I didn't seem to need to accomplish anything outside of just being healthy, Yeah. Which isn't a bad place to be. I'm okay with that even. Mm-hmm. But then I finally pulled and recovered. And it was like, but it's fun. It's really fun to push and see if I can do this, see if I can do that,
The joy it crept back in somehow.
Yep. So now I've got this half, and I was looking at already the times from last year and how people ran. I'm like, ooh, I might be competitive in this one. And then already back to like, okay, I got till October for the Jackass one. Maybe I can be under 130 for that still. I've got enough time, So all those going right back. I'm right where I was. Like it's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, you had a momentary depression, and it's on.
My poor wife deals with me with this stuff so often.
Terrible.
She's learned very much. Most of the time, she can just ignore me. I'm just like, there's the things you say, whatever. We'll talk again tomorrow.
We'll talk again tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. That I lost my train of thought. See, down to it.
Okay, there. Sorry, I called.
There we go. We're still there.
Probably gonna call right back, so we should probably wrap up pretty soon here.
Okay, yeah, we can wrap up. Well, I'm really curious to see how that goes, how that journey goes. Training for and then executing the half. I mean, it sounds like you're back to normal. Your normal running is fun, and the journey is fun, and all that.
Having a good time.
I'm really excited to keep semblance of running through the winter this year. As like summer is winding down, fall's coming. Keep some sprints and just consistency through the winter, which I say every year and could never do.
Somehow we gotta set up some method to where we can get in like 3 days a week minimum all winter.
Yeah, well, my goal for this year, I think I'll be better this year because my goal is to not lose my sprint and explosiveness through. I'm not going to do like my track days necessarily, but like I'm coming up with ways in the gym to keep my top speed and stuff in play because I don't want to risk injury next year when I go again.
Right. Sure.
I'm also playing with how fast can I get my 200 and my 400, and how competitive can I be on those? Because it's only been 20 years, and so why not be? How close to elite can I get? on races
right.
I've been done in 20
Well,
years.
and that is the key. If we wouldn't back off in the winter, it'd be a very different conversation the rest of the time.
I know.
Yeah,
So
it really would.
I'm working on that plan of how I can do that for myself because I'm not going to run outside once it gets cold. I just know I'm not gonna.
You kind of can't, with your feet
Hurts.
going numb and stuff. I
It
can't.
hurts
I just
so
have to
bad.
I just have to make myself do it, not be a weenie about it. So
Yeah. We have we'll foreshadow a little bit. We have a run coming up together, hopefully on Sunday in a couple days. That's going to be a mile. We'll talk about later. Do we have any intention with the mile?
yeah, it's a race mile. I think it's
Okay.
for me, it's important to go out and run as hard as I possibly can for 1 mile.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to do. I don't care what that time is,
Right.
but I'm going to do it at 100%.
Okay.
So
I like that. I think I'm on board for that if my body feels correct.
yeah, and
Which I hope it
we'll
will.
put out a thing also, probably just an open invite whenever we figure out the exact time and location.
Yeah.
But probably Rogers High School track, I think, is the tentative plan.
That makes sense.
And and I guess we could probably release this before the weekend too, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Let's
I
do
can
that.
it tomorrow.
Cool. Let's get this out there.
Yeah.
And and I'll message that, and we'll on our page we'll put out where and when to show up if you want to, and you can race it at your pace or our pace or whatever pace or walk the thing or whatever. But mostly just to honor our grandpa. We want to go out there and push.
Yeah.
So
I'm down. Okay. Well, I'll see you this weekend, and
All right.
we'll get it done.
all right, sounds good, man. All right, see you.
Later.